All right, it is 12:43 a.m., so that is the perfect time to do a weekly recap, and this is going to be from the 7th of November to the 11th of November. And I had a total of 4 trades, although one of them was a bit of a swing trade. I held on to it for 18 hours, which was basically an afternoon, and then I sold at the market open the next day. Let's go over these 4 trades, not that many. I don't really take too much consideration into this set of stats right here because it was only off of 4 trades. It's not super accurate. It's going to be impossible to be a successful day trader with a 100% winning percentage, but it does help if it's more than 50 over a longer period of time. I do want to note that most of my trades were according to that $100 risk level, except for this one, which was a swing trade. This was just something that I was considering practicing with. It wasn't necessarily something I wanted to trade a full-size position, although this one would have worked super nicely, I guess, in theory. If I had another zero, right, I would have actually have qualified, but that's fine. I didn't trade the right amount of size on my first trade, and yeah, I made 17 bucks with $685 of dollar volume, so I think that's good. Let's go ahead and look at the trades one by one, starting with CRTD on the 7th. 7th is going to be right here. So yeah, it had a bit of an uptrend consolidation, one big volume candle, red candle right here, and then I'm trading it after it has officially broken above the range, and not just broke above it, but it also went above $1, as high as $1.40, which is a pretty huge move. And the 7th is gonna be way back here. Okay, yeah, I remember just not being happy with myself because I missed out on so many setups on this day right here. Let's look at the one I did trade. I was in at 932 at 95, but this was a morning spike resistance breakout. So 932 at 95. 932 was right here, and I got in at 95. What did I get in it? Well, in theory, I was in because it was a morning spike, and then I guess maybe there was a lot of sellers at 95, and then once we broke past it, or at least it was looking like it was about to be broken, I got in at 95, and then I did get out. No, actually, no. Yeah, just 1 minute later at 96, so 933 is right here. I got out at 96. And let's just take a look at my notes and see why. Okay, so it just seems like I got out of it. Maybe I was just not really happy with the way the price action was, or yeah, just kind of thrown off from it. It seems like the main issue I had right here is that I didn't stick to a trend line. So in theory, this setup did work out, and I could have drawn a trend line maybe from here to the wick of the first uptrending candle, and then with an extension, clear indication where I would to have had to have sold it at the 97 break under the trend line. So maybe I would have even have sold near the same price, but I didn't stick to my rules. This thing could have easily continued the morning spike and then make a move above $1 and start to go much more vertical. But the problem is just that I just probably got thrown off with this price action right here this week, and I got out of it quickly. And I could have maybe have sold a portion of that position, but not everything. I should have at least waited for the trend line to break, and maybe I don't have my full position, but I sell a portion left. That will be fine. Just not selling everything at once before it breaks the trend line. That's something I need to stay away from. And then I do regret because this one did offer a lot of setups this day, and I didn't trade them. It had a dip under VWAP as shown here, and then it broke past it, and then it made a nice higher day breakout right here where it tried to do it. It did get above it a little, then it sold off, and then it officially breaks it. So this is like a confirmed higher day breakout pattern, nice uptrend, and then a dip towards VWAP that holds, turns around, the higher low setup, and then at this point a trend line can even be drawn. So you can see it on, it's a nice risk level to have on something that really increased. And I could even draw one from the left side, and yeah, it shows how it broke under it briefly, and then it held it. It held it again, and now it's starting to float above it, which is a really bullish sign. So Yeah, I see a lot of patterns here. Of course, hindsight is 2020, but definitely missed out on some setups right here. I could have done better with that. Let's look at CNNA. This is a stock I held for a longer period of time. So let's just start on the first day, which is on the 7th as well. Let's look at CNNA. Okay, the 7th is going to be right here. Why did I want to swing trade this? Well, very similar to CRTD. I've said that it's not breaking above $1 here, it's breaking above 1 penny. And nice strong green day. Broke above this previous run up right here, as well as the top. Not a bad setup to consider for a swing trade. And the 7th is going to be right here. So let's just highlight the 7th and the 8th from where I bought. I remember buying somewhere around here. And I bought 252, 106. So right here, 252. I got in it right here actually at the very tippy top at 106. Why? Well, I like how we broke above that 1 cent level as I mentioned, and it had a nice run up as high as 1.2. So that's a nice 20% gain. And then it sold off, but it held around the VWAP level for the most part. And then when it was starting to show that it was showing signs of a reversal, that's when I got in right here. And yeah, super nice run up, and I held this one overnight. I want to try this more, and I want to maybe have like a $10 or $20 risk level with swing trading setups, OTCs in particular, and try to grow that. I got out of this the next day right at 9:30 at the market open, 12:06, right around right here at 12:06. So yeah, I saw that right here. I kind of got thrown off, and I think with more experience I can be able to perhaps hold on to it better. But yeah, I was just a bit shaken out because they had that first candle of the market open be very wide, which is actually normal with a lot of OTCs. There's nothing to be scared of really, but I think I could have maybe sold most of my position the first candle and then allow it to be something where I still have a small piece left. And if it continues the uptrend, that's great. Or if we break the bottom of the first candle, that's going to be a sell. But I at least gave it a chance for it to uptrend some more and be something super profitable. As it did right here, I got as high as 13.4. Let me just see, what best case scenario would have been. Yeah, it would have been a nice percent gain. It would have went from 14 to 27, so that's pretty nice. And again, I didn't trade very much. I traded a tiny $40 position size because I was just trying to practice and get better at swing trading. Something I want to do more often if the setup presents itself. Let's look at ATLX on a knife. Ninth is going to be right here. So a big sell-off red day after it's been uptrending for a while. Nice volume this day. I was in at 10:08 at 238, and this was a trendline break, reversal long, big seller wiped out. So let's look at 10:08 at 238. 10:08 is going to be 10:08 is going to be right here. Right here, and I got in at 238. So let me zoom in some more. Essentially, I got in right here at 10:08, 238. Why did I get in it right here? I got in it because it did a trendline break. So I just took into consideration that this thing was downtrending over a longer period of time. I think maybe I had a trend line off of here. Perhaps this seems to have been following it better. And the idea is that I just saw a change in pattern when it was downtrending, 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 and I was seeing it, and it was looking like it was trying to turn around right here. Just looking at the price action, but the problem is that there was a big, I think 2 million share seller at the ask at 238. So that was a reason why I didn't want to get in the trade, because it was looking like it was trying to turn around, and I think there was support at 228 with a big amount of shares. So I was thinking maybe a bottom was going to be in at some point, especially with a big bidder trying to hold up the price action. But that big seller at the ask at 238 wasn't looking nice, but somebody bought him out. And as you can see right here, there was a whole bunch of volume around that 2 million shares. And when that big seller was taken out, I immediately got in it because I wanted to be in the setup, but that big seller was what was keeping me away from it. So I got in it for that reason. And then I did get out at 10:12, so 4 minutes later at 2453. So 10:12 is right here. I got out. My average is 2453, so right around here is when I got out. And yeah, it just didn't really work out that much. I didn't get above VWAP. I didn't even touch VWAP, so that's totally fine. And it actually did the same thing right here where it was downtrending, but this thing wasn't showing like a trend line break at least as nicely as the first one, but you can also make one off of this. I would say something like this, right? Going off of the price action right here, how it was following it a bit. And I like it how, it was downtrending and then it broke above it. Not much volume compared to this one, but the pattern is still there where it had this downtrending trend line and breaks above it. And then it actually downtrended to the trend line, but it didn't get under it. So this actually would be like a dip buyer trap. But again, the volume wasn't really that good. So I wouldn't have really have taken it. But then it sells off right here with massive volume. And they even try to regain itself under the trend line. And then once it was starting to turn around, maybe a more late entry, but with more security, perhaps less risk, an entry at 21. And then, you now have a trend line. Actually, maybe something like this. Again, high side is 2020. Maybe I would have had something like this, right? Once it was showing that it was trying to turn around, and I mean at this point right here at 21, so not anywhere near the bottom. And yeah, this thing followed it pretty nicely. It broke it here, and then it tried to regain itself, and it got to VWAP. So in theory, I like it. It's not perfect. It's not like this all the time where it has this trend line, and then once it breaks above it, it just starts to uptrend. It can be a trap for some people who just expect it to be nice and simple, but in a weird way, it makes it more of a confirmed setup, in that it's going to work and really uptrend in most cases and be something super profitable. Let's look at the last trade, which is CRTD on the 10th. Okay, the 10th is going to be right here. It's going to suck because I absolutely don't feel tired at all. And I'm going to somehow be able to sleep and be ready for the market open. The 10th is going to be right here. And I was in at 1024, 131 and a half. Multi-range support, higher low. So 1024, 131 and a half. Not sure what I did there. I guess I am tired. 1024. I'm going to zoom in some more. Actually, that's too much. That's better. 1024 was right here, 131 and a half. So I got in it right here. And why? Well, it's kind of hard to show, but there was support around this 127-ish level, I think. It had a dip to that level. As you can see, it held at 127-ish level. Uptrended, it got to VWAP. I guess a liquid higher low, got a little bit higher. And then it sold off. And I thought this could have been like a higher low setup off of here. But it started to uptrend a little too aggressively, and then it got knocked off by the big sellers at the ask, and then it kind of sold off. And now it was looking like it was going to be something where I could be in the setup. And after some consolidation, especially looking at where it is right now in the daily chart, it could try to break above VWAP and then really uptrend some more and try to be like a big breakout green candle, especially again when it had a dip around this 127 level multiple times and it held. And this was like a higher low in theory. So that was why I got in this setup. I did get out at 10:38, which was a bit later at 132 75. So let's just say 132 10:38. I was super patient with this one, actually a little too patient. 132, I was out roughly around right here. And what happened was is I did sell some of my position at I think 135. I'm not extremely sure. And then I tried to sell the rest at 136, but my order was right at the bid. And then when I place my order and the bid gets taken out, I have to cancel the order. It takes a while for it to cancel, place a new order, and the price action was looking super ugly all of a sudden. And I tried to sell my last piece, and I did. I got out of my last piece at 130 for a slight loss compared to my entry, but in theory, if I were to have sold everything in hindsight, maybe at 136, that would have been the amount that would have made just a 3% gain because they didn't really uptrend that much. It didn't get well above VWAP and do what I wanted it to do. But in theory, if I had like the proper sell order when the setup wasn't working anymore, and maybe I didn't have it right at the bid at 136, but like at 133, and that gets executed at 134 or 135, and then with my average, think we could have done a lot better with that setup right there. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this weekly recap right here. Nothing really to comment other than the fact that I made this rule where I'm going to try to stick to the markets and continuously look for setups until it's 11 a.m. because it seems like I've been missing a few setups, especially with CRTD on that first day where I just kind of look for a setup and then I traded, or maybe I just missed a setup and then I don't do anything the rest of this day, and then I just miss out on a bunch of setups. So I'm gonna try to avoid that issue. That's all I have for this weekly recap.